Welcome to Behind the Start, where we bake the entrepreneurial dream into reality. Join us as we showcase the freshest ingredients, the entrepreneurs of our time, from the birth of their startups to the rise to their success. We'll delve into the recipes for success and the challenges they faced along the way. Get ready to be inspired and learn how to bake your own entrepreneurial dreams.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go ahead and put them aprons back on and preheat the oven because we're back again with another episode of Behind the Start, where we talk with owners who are baking up their own success with their startups. And today we have Trista Sanford, and she's going to tell you all about her startup journey. So we're going to go ahead and bring Trista up. Hi, Trista. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So tell everybody about Trista Sanford, her Aura tea house and bakery business. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Trista. I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee, but currently living in North Carolina. I've actually been in business for over 10 years. So I started first baking solely
Trista,
alongside
we got
my
to
best
start over.
friend.
You are very
Oh,
staticky. Oh, it's
oh
it,
no.
yeah, it's staticky now. You was on the
Is
road.
it?
Oh, yeah, it's like
Yeah.
sound very robotic. It's like you could.
Uh,
It's like a yeah.
Let me see. I wonder if I just take these out, if that'll be better.
My last person, they got rid of their Bluetooth, and that was the issue.
Yeah, because you could hear me first, fine,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's fine. You're perfect now. I wouldn't put that on. Yes.
Okay, we'll just
All right,
leave
we
it
got
like
to start all over. That's what I about having recording because I want to make sure people can understand you and hear you, and to show you in your best light. And it was just
right.
like it was like every time you talk, you just heard static. Okay,
Yeah,
we're
we'll
gonna
go
start
again.
all over again. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go ahead and preheat your ovens and put the apron back on because it's time for another episode of Behind the Start. And this week we're going to be baking up a startup success story with Trista Sanford. She is the CEO of Or Tea House and Bakery, and she's going to tell you all about her startup journey. So let's welcome Trista Sanford. Hi, Trista.
Hi, hi, Stephanie. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Tell us about Trista Sanford and your amazing business.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Trista. I am a native of Nashville, Tennessee, but am now currently in North Carolina. I started baking professionally over 10 years ago alongside my best friend in 2011, where we had Yin Yang Cupcake Bar, and it was wonderful. But, as I often tell people, I met someone, fell in love, moved to North Carolina, and I really just wanted to make my business feel more like me. So I rebranded to Bespoke Bakery and Dessert Bar, and then I became a mom. And so one thing that's really important to me is making sure that the business is an extension of who I am, and that way it feels authentic and genuine. And so I rebranded the rebrand, and now I'm Aura Tea House and Bakery, where we specialize in hand blended premier loose leaf teas, and I still do the baking, so handcrafted baked goods that are delivered locally, but the tea ships nationwide.
That's awesome. Two of my favorite things, baking and tea. So before we begin, I like to always do like a icebreaker.
Yeah.
And so let's ask you a question. If your business, your startup journey was a movie, what would it be?
I'm gonna tell you the first thing that came to my mind is like waiting to exhale.
Uh-oh, uh-oh. So tell us about why waiting to excel.
Yeah, I think it's more so the name rather than what the movie is about. And just because, like I said, I've rebranded twice now. And I think that I've always tried to find my space and my place and somewhere that made me feel like home. And so I was consistently, kind of dealing with, because I have a background in corporate America. I've had a 9 to 5 the entire time up until recently, and so I think that I struggled a little bit with like what where does my creative side fit in versus where does professional side fit in. But this rebrand, it feels so much like me. It feels so much like home. That I think up until now, I've been waiting to exhale, but I've been able to do that. So yeah, so 2021 allowed me to like I've exhaled now.
Hey, Savannah. When you said that, I thought about the part when she just went.
Yep. Yep. And that's what this has felt like. That's what
And she
Aura
had
is
to
like.
rebrand herself, if you remember. It was like
Yep.
where she was in the beginning of the movie is not how she ended the movie. So that is really a good analogy on your take of your startup, because sometimes we just have to just let it out. But we
Let it.
gotta cry first sometimes, because that's what they
That's
do.
right.
You gotta do some crying, you go through some heartache, some trials and triumphs, and
Yeah.
throwing rocks at people, and
Right.
but
It was a
maybe
lot of
I ain't saying you gotta burn people's clothes,
that. Right.
but
You don't want to do that.
you don't want to do
But
that.
yeah, but figuratively, sometimes that's what you got to do.
Gotta do that, y'all. So tell us a little bit about, you told us a little about your story, but how did you come up with the name? Like, you had to pivot and rebrand and add,
Right.
the T, but how did you decide like this is the name I'm going to pick?
Yeah, so it's funny. I was sitting in the living room with my husband, and it just came to me. And before that, that's just how businesses have been for me. I just want it to be very genuine. I don't want a whole lot of like thought behind it. So Aura came to me, and I knew it was going to be spelled ORA. And so once I, heard it in my head, then I started to look it up. And in different languages, it means so many different things. And so in New Zealand, they say Kia ora, which is wishing you longevity, health, and good life. And so I loved that. In Italian, it means like here, now, which I love that. It means time in a different language. And it has a Latin background meaning, whereas health and vitality. And so I knew the name before I knew the why. I knew the what before the why. But it is all fitting. And then too, I've had people say, like, is that your name? My grandmother's name was Aura, or my great aunt's name was Aura. And I think that my business does have a very nurturing feel to it. I mean, we're talking about, tea and baked goods, which is a very vivid memory that I have of my mother, my grandmother. And so I just thought even that, even the name where people, it's an older woman's name, it's very fitting for the feel of my business.
And it does. I mean, as you are talking, I feel the warmth of what you're trying to do. I hear the warmth in your spirit, in your heart, and how you explain it. Um, and one thing about the two things that you're combined together is give you a sense of comfort.
Yes.
You know, we all love comfort food. I mean, and to pair it that well. So tell us a little bit about like how, what was that moment, that aha moment that somebody whispered in the Trista's ear and said, you have to do this. You need to make this a business. Like, talk about that. Like, what made you say, you know what, today is going to be the day.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. Talk about that journey.
Yeah, so if we go back to where I initially started baking professionally in 2011, I always baked for people. It's something that I love to do since I was a kid. I was a kid with the Easy Bake Oven, took it very seriously, and so uh, I was working at a college, and one of my friends was turning 21, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna surprise her at work tomorrow, and I'm gonna bring some cupcakes. But because she was turning 21, I added some tequila and strawberry, made like a strawberry margarita cupcake. Um, and brought them to work. Everybody's trying them, and somebody just said, like, you need to do this. Like, this is the thing you need to do. And I went home. On the drive home, I conceptualized it, what I wanted it to look like, some of the flavors I could already see, and talked to my best friends about it. And yeah, I went from there. So that was July, and I started that business that same month in July. Just kind of trusting that, the path would kind of be more revealed. But the response that I got was wonderful. So I was like, yeah, you mean I can make money like doing something that I'm doing anyway? Yeah, let's do that.
Margarita cupcake. That
Strawberry margarita.
sounds so good. That really sounds really good. So in this, And a lot of people always, they're going to be watching this and kind of feel like they can do what you do. But
Mhm.
talk about money,
Yeah.
because somebody once said money makes the world go round, and I don't know who said it, but I'm gonna give credit to that quote because somebody
Yeah.
said it. I can't remember who said it.
Yeah.
But talk about your ups and downs when it came to money to get this to kind of bankroll this, because a lot of times people come to me like, well, how are other people doing it? They take it from their own pockets, whatever. So talk about, how'd you fund this?
Yeah, so it's pretty much been me. And so that's why I said, in the beginning, if I started in 2011 and I didn't start, doing this full time until 2021, that's 10 years that I have been working a 9 to 5 alongside having my own business. And that is solely because one, just as African Americans, sometimes we have an issue with getting that capital, getting that funding. And I didn't even want to go there. And so pretty much it has been bootstrapping, which is I get money, I put it aside for my business, I use my money for my business. And so that has been the financial journey up until 2020, where I did receive a grant. I was a part of the American Express 100 for 100, and they gave us a nice grant of $25,000. And I used that money to, do the rebrand, to get products and stock in, and really just kind of shore up the foundation of my business. And since that point, I've kind of just been rolling. So it still has been no loans or anything from the bank. My customer base is wonderful. Pricing is important to make sure that you are bringing in, enough money. And so, yeah, that's been my financial journey in the business. So it
Wow.
hasn't been easy. It's been a lot of ups and downs for sure.
So two things you said, I want to give kudos for winning that American Express grant, because
Okay.
everybody knows it's not easy to get a grant
Absolutely.
because there's so many people fighting for the same pot of money. So
Absolutely.
congratulations to that. But I also wanted to give you, I'm taking notes here, and I also want to give you kudos for, you said 2021. In 2021, we were in the midst of COVID.
Right.
That takes gumption. Like, you didn't say, oh, I started in 2019 and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
You started in 2021. We're in the midst of COVID,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so that is also like kudos to you, because we always want to give people their flowers while they're still living. And that's hard. Like, most people are frightened. They're trying to save their money. It's like, I'm not making any changes. I'm not doing anything different, because honestly, Trisha, Trista, I'm gonna tell you something right now. We didn't know what the world was gonna look like after we got out of this. And so kudos to you to say, look, I got this vision, because only he gave you that vision, right? You got that vision on your own. And so you were like, I don't care what COVID ain't gonna stop me.
That's right.
It's not gonna stop me, because here it is, 2023, and it looks like you're still standing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Thank
that's
you so much.
that's really awesome, because as much as we see people started their business during COVID, I've seen a lot close through
Mhm.
COVID. So definitely kudos to you. So let's get into Trista's business, because you said some things. You said one, husband,
Yes.
right? So what is it like? Because typically I'm finding a lot of startup and entrepreneurs, are in, relationships or married. What is that like? Like, was he supportive? Because this is going to help somebody else who's saying, I can't juggle all this. I got kids, I got a husband. So talk about how that has played your marriage and him. How has he have played a part in this journey for you?
Yeah, so I met him. I already had the business. We actually met in Nashville. And so I did have that baking business already. And he came in, to my life already very supportive, almost a little, too supportive in how I felt at the time. Like, he's like, you need to quit your job. I'm like, sir, you're just my boyfriend. Like, you don't tell me, to quit my business. And I think our businesses are very personal. They feel like children. And so, he kind of came in hot. But as we've grown, we got engaged, we got married. He's always been really like my number one cheerleader, always believing in me. He's the person that pushed me, to quit my job and just like, if whatever happens, I got you, and you're still employable. Like, I left on good terms. If it doesn't work out and you do need to get another job, do that. But right now, I want you to focus on you, take a chance on yourself, and what you have. And so his support has been invaluable. And so I know that I'm very lucky. I know that's not everyone's story, but whether it's your husband or boyfriend, fiance, you find somebody else, find someone that can be your cheerleader. And if there's no one, then you got to know, like, you do that on your own. But it's important to be around people that support you wholeheartedly when you're trying to grow a business, because it can feel very isolating, as it is. So you need to surround yourself with someone, some people that support you.
I was going to say that too, because, if you ever want to feel like you are an island alone,
Absolutely.
start a business.
Yeah.
Because I have people sometimes, Trista, and they'll be like, I don't know where I fit in. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm around a whole bunch of people and I'm the only one. And so I feel awkward at times because, when they go around the table, what's everybody up to? You go with your girlfriends and they go, here she go, talk about her business again. And so that times that can make you feel alone because nobody in your circle. And that's great that you have somebody that's supporting. And that's, you all, Trista gave you a good tip. Find somebody in your corner that's going to be your cheerleader, because you're going to need it. There's going to be times where you want to give up. You need somebody that's going to push you and say, look, Trista, I believe in you.
Yep.
I know you can do this.
Yeah.
And whether, like you said, she gave you some really good advice, whether it's a significant other or not, whether it's you always know your grandmama, if you blessed us to have your grandmother living, she's going to be your number one supporter anyway. Then you got your mother and your father. Find somebody to say, hey, and if you don't have any of that, hey, if you got to go see a therapist about your customers driving you crazy or whatever, go ahead and do that. That's very important. So talk about networking. We don't talk about networking a lot. So does Trista network? Like, how do you commingle with other entrepreneurs? What's your take on networking and how you feel like it's beneficial for people that's trying to start a business?
Yeah. So when I started, I was very intentional about networking and trying to get in every space that I could, going to every meetup, where there were entrepreneurs and small businesses. Just very intentional about doing that. And what I found actually, in doing that, was I was meeting a lot of people, but not a lot of my people. People that, could understand what it was that I was trying to do, people in my industry, people that felt like me, people that looked like me, honestly. And so when we moved to North Carolina, I took that as an opportunity to be intentional. And I will say, I use intention a lot. There's one of the pillars my business is built on is intention. And so I was intentional about who I allowed in my space, not just going to every meetup, not to every co-working opportunity, co-working space. I met people organically. Social media was great for that. Just, people that were commenting on my things, following me or whatever. I paid attention to who those people looked like. And then with other businesses, we found organic ways to communicate, organic ways to partner up and build community. And so I will say, since I moved to North Carolina, the circle is smaller, but we support each other so much. Whether it be someone that does candles or someone that has a bookstore, wedding planners, it's all just kind of happened organically. And I find that that is the best way to kind of find your tribe when you're looking for community in a small business space. Is to just go forth and know, like, these are people that I actually like, people that I want to hang out with, people, that feel genuine. And so that's the best way. And we've had some beautiful collaborations and partnerships come from those things.
So let's talk about teas and bakery stuff. So let's talk about like let's first talk about what does an average day look like for Trista? Like walk us through like behind the scenes from the time you wake up to the time you close your eyes. That's probably like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But tell us a little bit about your daily journey.
Yeah, so a lot of it kind of depends on what I have going on, but generally, I do have a little one. I have a 4-year-old. And so she's in pre-K, so it's, getting up, seeing my husband off to work, getting her together and ready to head out for her day. I do take some moments, I call it my startup routine, where before I start to kind of look at my emails and things, I nourish myself. So I try and eat something, drink something, spend some time with just me, and then I kind of get into emails and the administrative part of things. If I'm going to post anything that day, is it scheduled? Is it something that I have to do and push out? Answering emails. And then it starts like fulfilling orders. So the tea is, like I said, it's all hand blended. And so I blend in small batches. So generally I'll blend enough, to last me for a little while, and I'll fulfill those orders and ship them out. If I have baking things, then I'm doing deliveries, which I deliver, all over the Triad and Triangle areas of North Carolina. That spans about 2 hours, either way, that I could be going. So it's delivery. Sometimes it's fulfilling partner, orders. So I do have some stockists and people that retail carry my items. I have some coffee shops that I supply tea to so that they can serve it. And then if there's baking, usually that's done in the evening, so that my husband, can be at home with my daughter. And so, yeah, then I'm baking until I'm finished. So I had a wedding this
All
past
day.
weekend. I think I slept an hour and a half
Yeah, that's
before getting started again. So it can be a lot, but then there are also those days that I make sure that I schedule for rest, where I
mm,
don't do, a thing that is business related. And I think that that's important too. A lot of times people say like entrepreneurship, you don't get balance.
mm-hmm.
And I think as you grow in your business and you become more confident, that scarcity mindset kind of goes away a little bit, where you have to do everything. Then you can start to schedule rest and restoration, because that's very important when you're like I am, largely a solopreneur. Like I do everything from the website to fulfilling orders on my own.
And that's most people like the R&R, restoration and restore. That we do have to do that because if not, your body gonna tell you you're gonna shut
It
down on
will.
you. It's like that.
Yes.
So listen, tell us your favorite blend.
Mm.
And then tell us your favorite blend and tell us what is the people's choice. Like so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, they are different. So I
Mhm.
actually like our Sweet Epiphany is my version of an Earl Grey tea. So it's black tea with bergamot, and I've added some vanilla and cornflower blossoms to it. So it's a little creamier than your traditional Earl Grey. It also has a nice floral finish. It makes perfect London fog. So you like add milk to it, or you just have it with lemon, and it's top tier to me. It also smells really good, so it's like aromatherapy. But the People's Choice is Aura Signature, which is actually the first tea blend that I did in 2020 when we were quarantined. I just kind of was like, I want to try to do this. So that was the first tea that I blended, first tea that I tried, my husband tried, and then we knew we had something. And so that is a South African honeybush tea with dry papaya, safflower, and cornflower blossoms, and it is so good.
That
Perfect ice,
sounds
perfect
good.
hot is a really good one. It's
That
really
sounds good. Oh my, that really sounds good.
good.
Um, yeah. So tell us, okay, now we're on the tea. Let's talk about bakery. So same thing. What is your favorite and what is the people's choice as far as the baking component of your business?
Yeah, so I do cakes, cookies, brownies, generally speaking. For events, I do a lot more than that. And so we'll talk about, I guess, my favorite thing overall is a sea salted chocolate chip cookie. Warm is just it's really good. But I think that I find myself doing a lot of cakes, and one of the top cakes that I do is our Sobro. So all of my cakes are named, with the exception of one or two. They're named after neighborhoods or streets in Nashville, just to kind of pay homage to where I'm from. And so Sobro is named after South Broadway,
Mm,
where the Google Clusters factory is, which is a top candy that comes out of Nashville. And so it is inspired by that. It's a chocolate bourbon cake,
mm,
um, with caramel, pecans, chocolate ganache. It's
mm.
very rich, but it's good. But I make that cake a lot.
So talk about perfect pairing. So give me give me one tea and what type of bake, like give me what your idea of a perfect pairing is.
Yeah, so we have a Renaissance tea,
Mhm.
and it is rich black tea with condensed and freeze dried caramel. So
Mm.
it's very latte like. I actually treat it a lot like coffee. I blended it for people that love coffee.
Mm.
And so that tea with, like I said, that Sobro cake, I think that that's the best pairing you can have, and they just go so well together. They complement each other.
Wow.
Both with those caramel notes, the black tea being just a smidge bitter. I think going with that rich chocolate cake is ideal.
That's awesome. So we can hear it in your passion. So where you see the vision for your business? Where do you go now? Like in the next 5 years, where can we expect from you in the next 5 years? Let's say that.
Yeah. So top tier, the what I'm really looking forward to is opening a tea house. Or if we're talking 5 years, I hope I have two to three of them. And so, I want a tea house. I want a place that feels like home, a place where you could just be. You get good baked goods. You get wonderful tea. Come work, chill, like a place that you want to be in.
Mm.
That's the goal. And so hopefully down the line we'll see some Aura Tea House and bakeries popping up.
So has there ever been a moment in their journey, the last couple of years, where you just kind of just said, "I don't know if I want to continue to do this"? Have you ever had those moments? 'Cause
Uh,
let's keep it real with the folks. Like, 'cause I want people to
yeah,
see that it's not always the smile that you see on Trista's face
yeah,
right now. So you can give us an example or just talk about a time where you just was like, I don't, you just kind of not self-doubt, but you kind of
mhm.
question your existence in the space.
Yeah, all the time. So, as confident as I sound, I struggle with imposter syndrome, first of all, where, people are loving things and I'm like, why? What's special about it? What's special about me? And so that is something that plagues a lot of entrepreneurs. And then too, there's burnout. There's getting tired. There's, the fact that I quit my job. Sometimes I feel irresponsible. Like, should I have done that? We could be bringing in a whole lot more money, because a lot of times, it ebbs and flows when you're in business. It depends on what people do. And so, yes, I've wanted to quit multiple times a year since I've been doing this since
Mhm.
2011. I wanted to throw in the towel and quit. And so there's a couple of things. There's the passion, that's behind it. The passion is what keeps me going. When those things creep in, there's my support system that says, we got you, I got you, don't worry
Mhm.
about it. And then generally something phenomenal happens. So I will
Mm.
want to quit and I will say, this is it. I'm going to start looking for jobs. And then someone will contact me and say, we found your website. Can we get a large order, like a corporate order of like 300 teas? Or, we're going to feature you in this.
Yeah.
I mean, even hearing, from you, it's just like some things just happen where I feel like God is in it,
Mhm.
and reassuring me, like, you keep going. And it happens every time. And it has happened that way since I started. Every time I want to quit, something phenomenal happens. And so, it's listening to yourself, and also, trusting that you're on the path that you're supposed to be on.
That's
Yeah.
that's so true, because I always tell people, even doing these conversations, even with the Behind the Start,
Mhm.
I've been telling people just keep going, because that vision was given to you. It wasn't given to me. I didn't lay in bed at night and say, oh, go start a tea business and a bakery. No, it was given to you.
Mhm.
And what I'm learning from these discussions of the last couple of weeks, just talking to different entrepreneurs, is one word, Trista, that resonates, that I've been listening to, is the word obedience.
Mhm.
And that's when I ask people what keeps them going, they say obedience.
Yeah.
And they explain it. They was like, I was given the task, I was given the vision, and me being obedient
Oh
is
yeah.
like, I'm living what I've been told to do,
Yeah.
right? And so that's kind of the thing. So what is your word? Because a lot of people are saying obedient, but what is your word?
Yeah,
That
I think for me it's and I continue to say it is intention and then it's passion. And so a lot of people ask me, like, what keeps you going? What is the one thing that you think that entrepreneurs need? And
mm,
at the top of that list is passion.
mm,
And that, means just because you hear that I'm doing tea and baked goods, if you don't have the passion behind it and you're just looking at, well, I can do that too, it probably will not work. And it won't work the same way that it's working for me anyway. But passion is what helps get me up in the morning, even though I've only been to sleep for an hour and a half. It's that second wind that allows me to stay up and do what I do. It's the passion that is gonna push when my body is tired, when my mind is tired, when I have 50,000 other things to do. That passion that I have for what I do and who I do it for, it's what drives this business. And so that would be my word. Although I do love the word obedience, and one of my good friends that is also a small business owner often says that obedience is my biggest flex. I
mm.
think that's phenomenal. I mean, that's awesome. And so while there is that, that obedience, but it's the passion behind what I do and who I do it for that really drives this.
So talk about the importance of, like, today. Talk about the importance of sharing your story. Why share your story with people? Talk about, what does that mean for Trista to share her story with people?
Yeah, I didn't think it was that important until I started doing it more. And then I would have people reach out to me that just say, like, thank you, because I was feeling some doubt, or thank you, I didn't think that I could get started. And so I continue to do it because I want people to know that you can, you should, and you'll succeed. Um, Oftentimes you just have to get started. It's not going to be perfect. I was one person that thought everything has to be perfect, everything has to be in line. And then I'm the same person that has rebranded twice. And people want to grow with you. People want to see you and champion you. And so I think that sharing my story, one, it allows that. It allows people to see how much I've grown. But it also lets you know you can do it. You can do it without, a bankroll, from, some creditor. It lets you know that you can do it with a family. You can do it by yourself. You can be a solopreneur and get it going. You can do it. And so I think that is why sharing my story is important. And it's important for me to hear too. It's important for me to, continue to kind of stay in line and grounded in my business. So yeah, that's why.
So, what I'm gonna give you some words, and I want you to be out of your own feeling and things. What comes to mind when I say these words?
Okay.
First word, fear. What's the first thing come to mind when I say fear?
Stop.
Mm.
Yep, that was the first thing.
Okay. What about determination?
The first thing that came to my mind was keep going.
Okay. And what about strategy?
Important.
Great. So let me ask you. You're doing all this great things. How do you celebrate? Well, do you first? Because some people don't. But do you celebrate your wins? And how does Trista celebrate her wins?
Yeah, so I just started. I made sure that I'm gonna celebrate every win, no matter how big, no
Mhm.
matter how small. And so sometimes it's just sharing with someone that I know is
Mhm.
going to cheer me on. Because I need that, and I do have those people in my life. So I'll share every win. There's probably three people that I share every single win with. And we celebrate. Some of those people don't live here, they live back in Nashville, and they'll say, like, we're gonna take a shot, or whatever it is. I celebrate my wins with my family. So, I said this many times, my husband is very supportive. So sometimes it'll just be like, hey, we're gonna go out, or I'm gonna get your favorite thing, or whatever. And then sometimes it's just, if I'm celebrating myself, I will celebrate myself with like a day of self care, which is so important to me. If there's one thing that I, would call my vice, it is myself, it is self care. And so if that means I'm going to go, to a really nice restaurant by myself, I'm going to do that. If it means I'm going to take myself to a spa, I'm going to do that. If it's me being at home and I'm going to spend the day, like washing my hair and giving myself a facial, then I'm gonna do that. So there are many ways that I celebrate. Um, every single win is gonna get celebrated.
That's awesome. We have to do that. One of my friends talk about this a lot. Is that we celebrate so many different things.
Mm.
Birthday, you get gifts, a card.
Yep.
You have a baby,
Mm-hmm.
birth the baby. What you get? You get a
Yep.
whole celebration, you get cards, you get
Yeah.
gifts. You get married. But when you start a business, it go on.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
I'm birthing something, you know what I mean? And a lot of times we don't get the hurrah, the balloons,
That's
the
right.
cheering on the bottle, the crystal,
Yeah.
or if you don't have crystal money,
Yeah.
what is it? Boone's Farm or what?
Blue farm budget.
You
Yep.
know, or Stella Rosa, depending on your
Yeah.
level of.
Yeah.
But that's great because you have to do it for yourself. And, and
Absolutely.
and we talk about a lot of times. It's like, you know, we're like, where's our cheerleading squad? Like, we just started a business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to be celebrated the same way if I'm having a baby because I am birthing something. And I
Exactly.
think a lot of times, and that's kind of what we're doing here, Legit TV, is celebrating people because we don't get that typically. And I think when you have a baby shower, you say you have a 4-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that baby? Did you have a baby shower?
I did. We had two baby showers.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And think about the confidence you got out of that because it's like, wait a minute. I feel like I could conquer the world now because people, in baby showers, they're giving you like words of encouragement, writing on
Mhm.
cards and
They're giving you
giving
some
you little
advice.
advice and stuff like that. And they're giving you gifts. And sometimes I've been to baby shower, people go around a room talking about giving words of wisdom and stuff like that.
Mhm. That's
Where's
right.
the business owners? Like, to
Yeah.
me, is like you said, if you don't get that support, that cheerleader, sometimes you just gotta just cheer your own self on,
That's right.
right? I think we need to change that narrative. I think that those who are watching, think about doing that for somebody.
Mhm.
Trista, even like Trista's girlfriends out there that's watching this, Trista gotta win. Celebrate that because you don't know what she thinks about at night when she's laying in bed.
That's right.
And what Trista has done is she not only walked out on faith, this is her 9 to 5. So anything that she does, I think it should be celebrated. And so in the midst of this, tell everybody where they can find Trista and get some of that good tea. What's the one that you said kind of remind you of Earl Grey?
Yeah, the sweet epiphany.
The Sweet Epiphany. Like, I'm an Earl Grey fan. So tell us how, if I want to get some Sweet Epiphany, how can I go about getting it and being connected and if I want to get connected with Trista?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website, a virtual home, is www.aurateahouse.com. That's ORA teahouse.com. You can shop there, look at our menus there. There's like advice and words of wisdom over in our tea room. You can also find, if you're local to North Carolina, where you can find the tea. So you can find stockists there. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook at Aura Tea House and Bakery. And I would love to see you over there and, have you join the Aura community because it really is a special place. So get tea, get baked goods, and get good vibes.
That's awesome. So if you can give, we talk about words a lot. What advice, there's somebody out there right now who's having doubts, who don't believe in themselves, don't have the confidence, don't have the support system that Trista has.
Yeah.
What would you say to that person today? Like from your mouth to their ears, what would you say to them today? What would be some of Trista's words of wisdom as like if you would give somebody a shower? What would be your words of wisdom?
Yeah, it would be just get started because somebody needs what you have. So there are people that are assigned to you that you have not met yet, some that you have. But as you grow your business, you will empower other people, you will employ other people, and you will too get blessed. And so, we all have these assignments. And so, you keeping it to yourself out of fear, doubt, whatever, is selfish because we want that magic. So yeah, do it for you, but also do it for us because we need what you have.
Yeah, I think about that song 24 was 24 what is it? 24 magic in the air?
Because you 24 karat, yeah.
You gotta have that. Thank you for the wisdom and knowledge and sharing your story because it is so much needed. I tell people your story. My brand manager once told me that people they'll like you before you like your brand.
That's true. Yep.
And so people need to see your passion and stuff behind this and just thank you for your words of wisdom. Like I said, we give you flowers while you're living. I can't wait to see the tea houses pop up because I'm one of these people. We go to tea parties. This is a place in Seattle that we go and they have you go and you can have a tea party with your little girl with your girlfriends and that's just an experience. And people think about my favorite shows is Bridgerton, and everything seemed to be around tea, and tea is one of the things that brings conversation, and so that's what Trista is doing. She's allowing you to, because tea's something you drink slow, so doing that you got to have conversation and engagement and gathering things like that. So Trista, we say thank you. Is there anything else you want to say? Because while you have this platform, whatever is on your mind and your heart, I'm gonna give you one last chance to just say what you want to say and what you're feeling at this moment.
Yeah, so I will share that I mentioned that we have pillars. So the 3 pillars that Aura is built on is inspiration, intention, and love. And so it is my intention that I inspire people to live a life that they love. And that's my personal mission and that's my business mission. And so if there is one thing that I can leave you with is just do what you got to do to live a life that you love, a life that you're proud of, because ultimately that's what's important is that you live a life and lead a life that you love. And so, yeah, I sign off with love Trista on everything. And so I'm sending you a whole lot of love, a whole lot of positivity, and a whole lot of light.
Thank you, Trista. You have been just awesome today.
Thank you.
Glad that you decided to come on Behind the Start and share your story. We will be reaching out. Please, people, go to her website, learn more about her, learn about her. She gave you some of her choices, but she also gave you the people's choice. And try it and support her so that way we can help her get her dreams of getting her own tea house. So I can come back to Nashville. I'm very familiar with Nashville. And so it gives me a reason to come to Nashville. So thank you again, Trista. We appreciate you. We'll be rooting for you and we'll talk to you shortly. So you have witnessed another episode Behind the Start. So you can just go ahead and put away your aprons and turn off your ovens because we hope that Trista has inspired you to bake your own startup. So, and always, until next time, Keep baking those startups, and we will talk to you later.
That's a wrap on another delicious episode of Behind the Start. We hope you enjoy this taste of the entrepreneurial world and feel inspired to bake your own recipe for success. Keep the oven mitts handy, and remember, the proof is in the pudding. Until next time, happy baking!